the Bombers of Kenya. Rita, let's talk about that statement or address that was released just a few moments ago by the IEBC chair, Wafula Chebukati. He mentioned that there are quite a number of regions that were experiencing some technological hitches. Maybe if you could just delve deeper into these areas and what really the IEBC is doing so far to correct that issue.
Well, Betty, there have also been concerns on social media about voters who are not being able to be identified by the electronic voter identification devices. And these are some of the challenges the IEBC chair, Wafula Chebukati, is addressing. He says in areas such as Wajir, Eldas, Isiolo, Dadaab, and Fafi, those challenges have been experienced. He says ICT officials have been dispatched to the ground, but he says officers in other areas where such challenges have been experienced have been directed on what to do to use what he calls an alphanumerical method that will ensure that it now becomes easier to identify voters through the electronic device. But he says so far the IEBC is encouraged by the voter turnout across the country, but so far he says it is too early to be able to give a percentage of how many Kenyans so far have come out to cast their ballot. He has acknowledged some of the challenges that have been experienced and reported throughout this morning. One of them is that several stations did not kick off voting on time, but he says that has been addressed. That time will be compensated later on when officially the voting process ends. That means that if a certain station perhaps opened late by 1 hour, for instance, the voting was meant to start at 6 a.m. If that station opened late at 7 a.m., then that 1 hour will be added on later on 5, so that station will then close voting at 6 p.m. He also says there have been other challenges. Last night, it was not possible to transport materials to Turkana, Samburu, and Baringo, some parts of those areas. Since he says there was a heavy downpour, the materials did not get there on time last night. By this morning, he says they were forced to dispatch several choppers to the ground, and the materials are now on the ground. He also spoke about Embakasi, Kasarani, and Westlands returning officers who were there. He says the voting process was not going on as it should, and so those returning officers have been replaced. 3 commissioners have been dispatched to those areas. They are now the ones overseeing the voting process in Westlands, Kasarani, and Embakasi East. Betty.
All right, thank you very much, Rita Tinina, coming to us live from the Bombers of Kenya, which is the National Tallying Center. We want to wrap up things here, but let me just get the final thoughts of my guests here. Dismas, I'll start with you. The whole voting process as it is, the sentiments from the DP and